Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Nathan.
Welcome to episode 139 of Adventures and Mousecapades. This week, we talk Convergence Zone woes. We love where we live. We really do. It's gorgeous out here. But because of where we live, kind of in, like I said, the Convergence Zone, these big, huge storms that are supposed to come up this way just become thunderstorms of meh.
Meh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very rare that we get a thunderstorm out here in the Seattle area. We actually legitimately had a thunderstorm roll through the other day, and it just kind of dissipated and went around us, and it was very lackluster. And for two people who grew up on the East Coast predominantly, we miss thunderstorms.
Yeah.
We miss getting rocked by thunderstorms more specifically.
And it's interesting because the town over east and west of us, both of them actually got really good thunderstorm. We did not.
We got jack squat.
Jack squat. Mm-hmm. What are we actually talking about today, Nathan?
Today, we're going to talk about our Disneyland and D23 date.
Woohoo!
We took an adults trip down to Anaheim, and it just so happened to coincide, ironically enough, with D23.
It didn't coincide with it. We planned that specifically.
I think I remember as soon as they announced the dates for D23, like within an hour or so, we had a room booked.
Yeah.
At the Villas at Disneyland Hotel.
I pinged you, was like, hey, by the way, we have a reservation now.
That worked out quite well.
Yes. We started off with a very early flight.
Yes.
Well,
now, it could have been earlier.
This is true.
But it was still like a 7 or a 7:15 flight, which meant that we needed to leave our home around like 5.
Yeah.
That was painful. Mm-hmm. That was very painful. But we were in a park by noon. So, it's all right. It's all right.
It worked out well. And we ended up going to Disney's California Adventure because we had lunch already booked at Magic Key Terrace.
Yeah, this was my first time being able to go to Magic Key Terrace. Alicia, you've been there before.
I have. I was there with Sterling. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is an absolutely stunning place. They are kind of over on the right side of the park, kind of a little bit past Grizzly Peak. And man, the food was good. The drinks were good. The smells were even better.
Yes. And we will talk about next week all of the food and drinks that we had on this trip because we had quite a few and we figured we needed its own little episode. But
yes.
We were here and smelled some delicious Southern Italian food and realized it wasn't from the place we were currently sitting at.
No, and it wasn't from Southern Italy either. It was from Northern Italy.
Oh, sorry. I get them mixed up.
I know, north, south, left, right. I mean, who's to care? Who's to judge?
Italian deliciousness.
Yeah, exactly. Specifically spaghetti bolognese. But anyhow, tune in next week for all of the food because I will tell you, dear listener, we had some incredible meals on this trip. You are going to want to hear about them for sure.
Yeah. So this space is really nice. It's in the performance corridor area of Disney's California Adventure, kind of just past Cars Land and right before you get to San Francisco.
Yeah.
It is on the second floor of the Wine Country Trattoria building. Nice little lounge area. You do have to have reservations and have to be a Magic Key holder, which is Disneyland's annual pass, to be able to eat there.
And we have those.
Or go with a member, with somebody who is. Yeah.
True, indeed. It's also a really fantastic view of the park.
It is. That area over the Pixar Pier, San Francisco stuff.
The area. That whole
area.
That whole
area.
area. Yeah. There's also a brand new DVC Welcome Home Center over there next to this facility. Just opened within the last few weeks. It's actually quite beautiful. They have some mock-ups and some models and things like that. Not like a walk-in room model, but some scaled down models of the DVC tower over at Disneyland Hotel. They have one of the ships there. It's just a really nice, relaxing place. It's not really a lounge, though there is a little bit of seating there, but it's wonderfully themed, quite beautiful.
If you have any questions about DVC, it is staffed, so you can talk with somebody there about it.
Absolutely. Tell them we said hi.
Mm-hmm. One of the first things that I did when we walked into Disney property, into the park property, I should say, is try to get the virtual queue for Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
Sorry, for Haunted Mansion Holiday. Because it is still closed right now to standby guests. You can't just go walk in the line. You have to have a virtual queue. Because they're still doing construction on the queue and there's just not a lot of room for people to be standing and waiting over there.
Indeed.
So I put us into the virtual queue and we were called at around 6 p.m. So,
which is actually quite interesting because how did that work? You got into the virtual queue at like 12:30 and they weren't supposed to like open that up until 1.
No. That was the second. If the first queue filled up, if the first section filled up, then they would open it at 1. But it didn't fill up, so it just stayed open. And it was kind of like that every single day. Unbeknownst to you, Nathan, I got a queue every single day for the Haunted Mansion holiday. We only wrote it once, but I did have a queue every single day. We were there.
Just in case, you never know.
Just in case, yes.
All righty then.
And it was all varying different times of the day. I was like, let's see what it's at. Yeah.
And then did you let those go, I'm assuming, at some point?
I don't think you can let them go. I think you just don't show up when your boarding group is called.
Huh. Interesting. All right. Well then. Sorry, Disney. Sorry, other Disney people.
I don't know that they actually filled up any of the queues, any of the days that it was there. Because I was trying, like one of them I got at like 3 p.m. So.
Huh. Yeah, but still, we were taking spots from other people in line. They could have perhaps gotten earlier. But I'm glad that it wasn't selling out, so I don't feel quite as bad. But our apologies to the universe of karma of Disney virtual queues. We'll use them more often and more judiciously next time. Well, before that, we actually got, shockingly enough, our room was available at like 2:30 instead of 4. So that was fantastic. So we sauntered on over to the villas at the Disneyland Hotel and got ourselves into our room up on the 7th floor, around the corner from all the DVC preview rooms. And this was a standard, not a standard, it was a premium view deluxe studio or deluxe studio premium view. Whatever. There's words in that relative order. Yeah. And it was nice. It was comfortable. I can't wait to try a one bedroom here. Yeah. I'm very excited to get a little bit more space, but these are very comfortable rooms. Yeah.
This is my third time in this type of room, and they've all been on the 7th floor. So it's interesting.
Huh. Maybe it's you.
Maybe it's me. I don't know. It'll be, in our April vacation, I wonder if we'll get the 7th floor again.
We'll just have to find out.
We'll just have to find out.
Yeah. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. In 6 months or 8 months, in several months, you will know.
We'll
Math
see.
is hard, y'all. It's the end of a day.
It is the end of a day for us. Preferred view for the villas at Disneyland Hotel means you have a view of the pool or the park.
Yes.
Although there's only one very small group of rooms that have a park view. So mainly just pool, I think.
It was still nice. We enjoyed the room and super comfortable. A great place to call home for a week. I will say I really wish we had points over at Grand Californian because that location is superb from getting into the parks and around. Like Disneyland Hotel is still at the opposite end of the property. Mm-hmm. I hope that Disneyland Forward and a bunch of the other stuff is going to bring the park kind of over closer to Disneyland Hotel, and maybe we'll actually get an entrance to some park over there. We'll see. I've seen some concepts that kind of look like that may happen, but
Yeah.
we'll just have to find out what happens in 5 or 6 years.
Grand Californian has so few rooms, however, even if we did have points there, I don't know that we'd reliably be able to get spontaneous trips. We'd have to, we definitely have to plan out for those.
Yeah. You're going to have to hit your 11-month booking window for those for sure.
Yeah. We did check out the room because we had to, unpack. And then we went back to Disneyland for our Haunted Mansion Holiday virtual queue. It was nice. I like this one. I think it's a really cute little overlay that they do.
Yeah. Now, that whole corner of the park, though, is a fiasco right now.
Gosh.
The pass-through back to Galaxy's Edge is closed. So basically...
Point of order.
Yes.
It opened today.
Yes, it did.
So
However,
as of you all listening to this, it's open again.
Right. But it was not when we were there. No. And it was just a mess because... not everybody realized that it was a virtual queue only for Haunted Mansion. So there's a bunch of people standing around and trying to get in. And it wasn't really clear where the beginning of the line was. It was an ordeal. It was a thing for sure. I can't wait till they get that new queue area opened up. Unfortunately, I don't know that that's going to be anytime soon. It sure seems like any of these construction projects that are going on in Disneyland are sure taking their sweet old time.
We talked with a cast member friend of ours, who was, what do you call it? He was stationed at Haunted Mansion.
He's familiar with the area.
He is familiar with the area. He wasn't over there and we saw him elsewhere, but he was saying that they were expecting this whole thing to be open by now.
Yeah. And
it's not.
It's not.
It's not close either.
Anyway.
Should clarify, Haunted Mansion Holiday Overlay is an overlay of the Nightmare Before Christmas onto the Haunted Mansion ride itself. So you've got Jack Skellington, you've got Oogie Boogie, you've got Sally, and just all the shenanigans that ensue. And one of the things that I love about this is the ride in the ballroom scene has its own gingerbread house. It's spelled so good.
Oh, it was amazing.
And it's different every year. And this year it was very elaborate.
Yeah. It was our first gingerbread hit of the year.
Mm-hmm. After Haunted Mansion Holiday, we needed to get some food. So we got some food and a snack and snacks. Yeah. And then went over to the Tiki Room to enjoy our snacks in the Tiki Room.
As you
can bring food in there.
Mm-hmm.
And sing along.
Love the Tiki Room for sure. And on our way out of the park, we happened to score a Mickey pumpkin wreath, which is a hot commodity, is continually sold out online. And they have actually on most days when we were around the parks or in downtown Disney, they were sold out there as well. But we happened to snag one. So hooray for us.
The next day was D23 Day at the park. There are all sorts of shenanigans going on. There was a special parade. They were giving out special ears to the first number of people that were in the park. Mm-hmm. There were special photo pass things and just a whole bunch of different things that you can see and do.
Yeah. And it was the debut day of the Hatbox Ghost Sipper. So you know that we had to go get some of those.
Yes.
Disney merch has us wrapped around their finger, just like pretty much every other Disney fan.
Mm-hmm. I had seen online that they were going to be offering this on this specific day. So on our way to our character breakfast, we stopped off at the guest services area or one of the info booths. And I asked them, it's like, where can I get this? And they did not know.
But we found it.
We found it.
And then we went back and let them know. And if you need to know, they're at the popcorn and churro carts over by the Haunted Mansion. And then they're also available, even if you did pre-order, from Harbor Galley. So lots of opportunities to go get one, assuming they are still in stock, if they're there when you are.
We also saw at that popcorn cart an Oogie Boogie Roasty Toasty, which was just cute. So what a Roasty Toasty is, this is the actual name of these things, is on the popcorn carts, you will see a little character turning a crank that looks like it's turning popcorn. And a lot of the popcorn carts have this, and they are themed in different areas. Over in Pixar Pier, there's a Duke Kaboom Roasty Toasty. For Haunted Mansion, it's usually a ghost, but because of the holidays and Haunted Mansion holidays, they changed it to Oogie Boogie.
Now, we're not going to talk about food, but we can't pass this by. We did have a character breakfast at Plaza Inn, and this is one of my favorites for sure. There were so many characters out. We had Minnie, of course. She's hosting the event. Winnie the Pooh. Dale was there. Tigger, a very relaxed and very suave Tigger, might I add.
A little different. He was a little chill this day.
Yeah. Pluto was there. Susie was there, one of the mice from Cinderella. Eeyore was there. Oh my gosh, y'all.
We've never met
was
Eeyore before.
So stinking cute. And I congratulated him. He found his tail.
Yeah.
So good job, Eeyore.
We also saw Daisy and Chip. They did not stop by our table, just timing didn't work out right, but we saw them.
We had a lightning lane for Runaway Railway. This is my first time to get on that ride over there in California. And I will say it's a little different. I did notice a few layout things were a little changed. And I don't remember in that opening scene where Mickey and Minnie run into the railway switch and everything goes wrong. I don't remember the cars kind of freaking out that you're riding in Florida like they do in California. I thought that was surprising.
I don't think all of them do. I think it's like only the last one that does that.
And we've been in the last one in Florida, and it does not do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was kind of cool. Now, we didn't get a chance to walk through the full queue, but stay tuned, put a pin in that thought, because we do get back.
Yes. On the way over to Runaway Railway, though, we had something really cool happen. The Disneyland band was marching.
Yes.
And we were kind of behind them and got to a spot where the cast members were telling us to stop and wait. So we stopped and waited.
Well, they were trying to direct us around the band. Basically,
Yes.
the band stopped over kind of by Small World, and they were directing people around because the band was obviously going to play. And they're like, okay, you can move over and go around. And we're like, but we want to watch the band. They're like, oh, well, perfect. Stand right there. And we got front row for a Park and Blow from the Disneyland marching band. Holy cow, y'all. These musicians are amazing. They're so good. The trumpet was killer.
I want to qualify. Park and Blow is a marching band term for those who do not know.
Okay, that is a good disclaimer. This is a family-friendly podcast. Park and Blow, yeah, means the band stops moving and they blow a lot of air through their horns, making a lot of noise.
Yes.
You know, musically, it's not just noise. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. Wow. Yeah, that does have a different connotation and a different light. Okay, moving on.
It was an amazing
show.
performance.
Yeah.
They did a medley of a whole bunch of different songs from a bunch of Disney favorites through Star Wars, through Marvel, and I loved it so much.
Yeah, yeah. We put a video up on YouTube of this. So go over to our YouTube channel, our Mousecapades. Just search that over on the YouTubes. And yeah, you can watch the Disneyland marching band do their thing. Speaking of, live music was definitely a thing throughout our whole trip, the week that we were down there. There was so much live music around. Even to this day, when we got into the park, there was a little roving, like 4-piece Dixieland band. They were so good. Like I think it was a Pirates band or something like that. And the bass player had like a full upright double bass with like a caster wheel on the bottom, and he was walking and playing at the same time. Like that was kind of like mind blowing. But all of the musicians in Southern California at these parks are so good. I'm not saying that the ones in Florida are bad, but there's just more of it in California. Yeah. I am here for it. Like all of these bands that they put together are just, it's so good. Mm-hmm. It's so good. Mm-hmm. This is definitely where Alicia and I start looking at each other like, we could retire. We could do this. I could play that drum part. Alicia could play that trombone part. Let's go. Let's do this.
But we need them to do it in Florida.
Yes, we needed to do it in Florida because that's where all of our friends are. So, yeah.
After Runaway Railway, we headed back over to Disney's California Adventure. We had lunch over there at Wine Country Trattoria. And of course, on the way, there was another live band playing, kind of swing 20s, 30s style. I don't know what decade, but...
I forget the name of the band. We've seen them before. They were right out there in front in the circle as you go over by Carthay Circle. I guess that would be Carthay Circle.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is.
Anyway, and then we got over to Wine Country Trattoria, which is what we had smelled the previous day. Mm-hmm. We won't go into it, but we got into it because
good stuff.
That was some good stuff.
When that was over, we wanted to watch Deadpool. Deadpool and Wolverine are in Disneyland in Disney's California Adventure. We wanted to see story time with Deadpool. And
we did.
Yes.
This day, they were hanging out and doing story time kind of right where the Dora Milaje do their show over in Avengers Campus. Oftentimes, we've seen them with the Deadpool story time is over by the Hyperion Theater, but this was out kind of more in the open, and there was a huge crowd, and we got a bunch of pictures, and it was so funny. It was so great to have that level of snark happening in the park. It was,
Deadpool's
much
great for
appreciated.
snark. We walked around DCA on a bit on the way to our Toy Story Midway Mania Lightning Lane. I had fun there. I love that ride.
Yes.
It's a workout for sure, but it's a fun ride.
Saw another amazing band, a little 4-piece jazz band over in the gazebo by the ride there. Man, again, all the music, all the time. Love this about Disneyland. These cats were on fire.
And it was an older group as well. This was over in the Paradise Gardens area where there's a whole bunch of food places and everything, a nice little gazebo for bands.
One of the tech cast member, sound guys when you see him because they're all dressed in black, and he had a soundboard on an iPad kind of as an app. I saw him walk by, and I just leaned over and said, "Hey, you've got a really nice mix going on." He's like, "It's hard to screw this band up. They're so good." I was like, "Yeah, you're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong."
Yep. After Toy Story Midway Mania, I did not get a high score. We went and rode the Incredicoaster.
Love this coaster.
I do too.
It's such a great ride. We didn't get a Jack Jack's Nom Nom cookie.
No, because we had to save room for dinner that night.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. We did, however, on our way out of the park, we had a place to go, and we needed to get all cleaned up and showered and iron my dress, and you had to get your sport coat all put together. Maybe I have that backwards.
Flip that, reverse it.
We stopped over in the lobby of the Grand Californian, and Disney had this gigantic display of Swarovski crystals with flowers and this motif of Sorcerer Mickey. Sorcerer Mickey seems like he was the theme of D23 this year. It was all over the merch and everything else. And I will tell you what, I was here for it. I loved every single last bit.
Were those crystals, or was that a chocolate display?
Well, one of those things you can eat and one of those you can't. I don't know which one this was. So
they have
it looks sparkly.
They have a tendency to make chocolate displays in the lobby of the Grand Californian. I could be wrong.
This may be chocolate now that I'm looking at it. Well, public service announcement. The lawyers are making me add this right now. Do not eat Swarovski crystals.
No, do not. Do not eat the chocolate displays that Disney has up either.
No, don't eat those either. No. Well, we went back to our room and got all gussied up and headed on over back into Disneyland for dinner at D23.
No, that is incorrect, my love.
No, it was Club 33. I made this mistake so many times on this trip. Too many threes. Just too many threes. Anyhow, we had dinner at Club 33. We are fortunate enough to have an inn, and a member got us some reservations. We got one of the last tables available for the second seating of the night, and we had dinner out on the balcony, kind of tucked away behind the trees, but we got to see some peekaboo views of Fantasmic as that show went off. Just an amazing time, as always, at Club 33.
I should mention that this evening, we got to see some rather famous people.
We did.
It was just in passing.
Right.
We were going some way, and they were coming the other way.
Us cool people, them cool people.
Exactly.
We're just cool people being cool, hanging out. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Favreau? Hey, how you doing, Dave Filoni? Yeah. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were coming down the staircase as we were walking up for dinner.
Up. Yep. So
and
I said
we got
hi.
our nod of acknowledgement and a little hello. And
that was it.
that was so cool.
That was pretty awesome. We're freaking out on the inside. I mean, we're like, oh my God. But you don't want to bother people. Just a nice, simple little, hey, how you doing? That was it.
Yep. Exactly. But I tell you what, if Inside Out was real, our internal consoles were like on full tilt, smoking. All of our characters were running around and freaking out, including Ennui.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny because a couple of the content creators, people that I follow on blogs and whatnot, that were in Disneyland that day had posted like, oh my gosh, I saw so-and-so like over by Pirates of the Caribbean. And I was like, yep. Mm-hmm.
We saw them first because before they were over by Pirates of the Caribbean, they were coming out of Club 33.
We don't know. Maybe not. They could have gone to ride it beforehand. Who knows?
Oh, very true. Very true. No, anyhow, we'll go more into the meal, but that was such a great night.
Yep.
We are so blessed to be able to go to Club 33.
We will leverage this as often as we can until we're told no more.
Yeah,
so.
back off.
Yep.
And
but
once that happens, we'll find somebody else.
Oh, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. And of course, there were purchases made, and I do need to do a merchandise haul for D23, Disneyland, Club 33, all that good stuff.
Yes, we got a few things. All right, well, the next day was D23.
The next 3 days.
Exactly. Not 33, 23 this time.
Yes. The next 3 days were D23. D23 is Disney's Fan Expo. It's like Comic-Con, but for Disney.
This was held over at the Anaheim Convention Center. They have a huge show floor, lots of booths. They have panel rooms upstairs and on multiple levels and other areas of the buildings. This is pretty much a standard Comic-Con style convention. And then what was new this year is they had kind of the premiere panels that everybody wants to go to. So the entertainment panel, the Parks and Experience panel, and then the Legends Induction Showcase. Those were all in the evenings over at the Honda Center. And we had tickets that were not just 3-day floor passes, but we had seats at the Honda Center at night too. And they weren't cheap. And I'm so glad we were able to do this and that we scored those tickets and got the timing or lottery, or I can't even remember at this point how it worked out. But we got tickets and I'm glad we were there.
Yeah, it worked out very well. So I have been to a couple of Comic-Cons. I've been to 3 in different areas. I've been to Emerald City, which is in Seattle. I've been to Rose City, which is in Portland, and I've been to New York Comic Con as well.
You've also worked at Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, and Star Wars Celebration. Yes. So far. My apologies. This one, the show floor blew all of them out of the water. Just the amount, I don't know, just the production of it was amazing. What they had on the floor, how pretty they made it, how interactive they made things. This was a phenomenal con.
I am not one to typically enjoy these kind of things. This puts me into my anxiety takes over the control panel when I get around this many people. It definitely kind of tipped the scales when we got there at 7:45 or so on Friday morning on the opening day. People had started lining up at like 3 or 4 or something like that for a 9 a.m. opening. We were some of the last people they let inside the building before they capped it off, and everybody else had to wait outside. And we were in this room with thousands and thousands of people being basically in a holding pattern until they opened the floor at 9, or actually it was probably about 9:20. They were pretty late.
Yeah.
And it was, I did not enjoy that at all.
No, I'm not great at standing in queues. It's what hurts my body more than anything else. Walking around, I'm okay. But this standing and waiting is what does it for me.
Yeah. So if you're okay with that aspect, I would say the whole rest of this experience was phenomenal. It is on us older people who have had some injuries and, knee replacements for both of us. It was a bit of a haul, a bit of a chore to get around the hall after the end of a long day. But I'm so glad we did it for sure. I'm not a huge fan of how they opened the virtual queue. So there's virtual queues for a lot of the merch places, and you could only sign up for one.
Yeah.
And they opened the virtual queue at 4 a.m. Why? Why would you do that? I don't understand.
So we did not do a virtual queue for Friday. I don't know why. I think we just didn't want to wake up early to do that. We should have.
We should have. Yeah.
We should have. But the first thing we did when we got in was we thought we had a plan, but we didn't really.
No.
And I realized Loungefly is there. They're going to have some exclusives, and that is going to get packed very quickly because Loungefly is huge.
Yep.
And yes, it did. That was the first queue we waited in. I think we were there about 45 minutes.
And yes, and that was a disaster because it was across the main hallway or pathway through the show floor from the Ravensburger booth. And if you don't know, that is the company that runs the Disney Lorcana trading card game, and they did not handle their whole setup. And I don't know what they were expecting, but it was a disaster.
I don't understand why they didn't realize how crazy that was going to be.
Yeah.
Just from the prior releases that they've had in the parks, they've had pop-ups in downtown Disney, and it's always been super crowded when they do those. So if you're having D23 exclusives, it's going to be nuts. They had to cap it off. This thing had to be capped off pretty much the entire con. The lines.
Well, and then on Friday, because they weren't actually prepared for it, they ended up blocking. Security was blocking the main east-west corridor to get anywhere across the show floor.
We couldn't go anywhere, so we just went in the Loungefly line.
Pretty much. So, we got some merch there. That was a decent haul.
Yeah.
We saw some creators, and we've been posting some of those. We got a picture. There was a bunch of people this is a con, right? This is a convention. There's a bunch of folks who are dressed up as their favorite characters. We saw several really, really well put together Deadpools.
Yes.
And we got our picture with one. He was a couple folks behind us in line. And let's see, who else do we see? Oh, we saw, I'm spacing on his name. We went over to the ILM booth, the Industrial Light and Magic booth, because they had a kind of portable, if you will, portable, a mobile. Well, it's not even mobile. They were able to recreate part of what is called the volume.
It's the
this
volume
is where
light.
this is where they shoot a bunch of stuff for Mandalorian and other TV shows nowadays. It uses the Unreal game engine to render video behind characters, so you can basically build out immersive sets on these LED walls that can be basically pivoted based on where the camera is shooting the character. Like, it's mind-blowing to see it in person.
You don't see the nuances of it when you're watching a show because you're seeing the show. But if you're behind the scenes, I don't know if we got a video of this or not, but how do you explain this?
It is rotating the background to basically based on the camera's perspective. And we actually got a little movie of us standing next to, I think it was an R6 droid, basically on the stage. And it was so cool.
It was really neat.
They had a Loth cat in the queue that we got to see. We saw Hu Yang, who is the robot that is voiced by Emmy-winning for this performance, David Tennant, in the Ahsoka series. It was really neat. And then, we got this little video on the soundstage, a little 10-second video. And while we were waiting in line, though, we saw the genie from Disney's Aladdin on Broadway. The gentleman who originated that character, I can't think of his name. Alicia, hit me.
It was Michael James Scott, Nathan.
Yes.
No,
sorry.
Just Michael James Scott, not Michael James Scott, Nathan.
Too many first names.
Too many first names. Oh my gosh, that's 4.
Anyhow, Michael James Scott as the genie. It was really cool. So he was doing a whole kind of a meet and greet on stage, if you will, and doing a little presentation over in the Disney on Broadway booth that was right across from the volume. But I got to nerd out. I'll transition back to the volume because not only are we seeing what kind of like is cutting edge that Hollywood is using to make some of these movies. Like, as a nerd, you got to walk around the back of the booth and you could see the back of the infrastructure of all
cool.
of these LED panels that are going like 30 feet high. It was so cool.
It was really neat. As we said before, though, we saw some amazing cosplay. We got to see somebody cosplayed as Walt Disney, and I've seen this guy go in the parks a couple of times, and the characters just, I mean, they love it because he looks like Walt Disney. It's really, really uncanny. We got to see more creators that we enjoy and got to look in the Disney Cruise Line booth, which was really fun. Being able to see some of the upcoming stuff for the Disney Treasure and the Destiny.
We talked all about that on the DCL Duo podcast. Go ahead and find that episode. And you can hear more about what's in the DCL booth. We kind of drained that over there. Yep. So we'll move on here.
Next thing we got to do was meet Jim Cummings. We had purchased a special bag at Loungefly that ensured us a meet and greet with him. If you don't know who he is, just go back and think of any cartoon in like the 80s or 90s. He's probably voiced something that you've heard of.
Yes.
He's the voice of Winnie the Pooh. He's Tigger. He's also filled in as Kaa in the Jungle Book. He's Hondo Anaka. If you watch Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, he's Monterey Jack. More recently, he's Ray the Firefly in Princess and the Frog. He's done so many things, and we got to spend just a little bit of time and say and just say hi to him while he was signing a backpack for us.
That was neat. I wish it was a little more time. I don't even think we had a chance to say hi and thank you.
No. So as somebody who's worked with talent at cons before, this was absolutely ridiculous in not a good way. Like, they were pushing him through. He like barely had time to even look up from what he was doing. So there was it was not really meet and greet. It's stand next to him, get a picture, and leave.
Right. And pretty much all the pictures we have are him actually signing the backpack. I don't think he's actually looking up in any of them. It's fine. I'm fine. Right. We're fine. Everything's fine here.
No, there's one. He's looking up. You're looking at the camera, Nathan, and I'm looking at him. There we go. That's it.
So that was about 2:00, and we knew it was going to be a long evening. So we headed out of the show floor, back to the hotel, grabbed some lunch down at the Palm Breeze Bar. Love that place. More next week. And yeah, just kind of got a little bit of rest before we headed over to the Honda Center for that night's Entertainment Expo, Entertainment Showcase. I don't think this one had an official title, but it was basically all the things that were going to be coming out of Disney Animation and Pixar and
movies and series and TV shows and
Marvel and
good stuff.
Lucas and all the stuff.
This was a great panel. I mean, we learned about Incredibles 3. We learned the title for the next Avatar movie is Avatar Fire and Ash. Zootopia 2, they did a preview of, which was absolutely hilarious. They announced Frozen 3 and 4.
Yep. We had The Rock on stage talking about the next Moana movie. They talked about Elio, which is a new movie coming out from Pixar. They talked all about a bunch of new Broadway shows and dates that are coming out. That we'd heard about a bunch of these shows that they were coming, and we didn't know dates, so we heard dates for those. There's a new Frozen show. There's a Hercules coming out, and then they announced The Greatest Showman is coming to the Broadway stage sometime soon. So yeah, lots going on there. Bunch of stuff from Lucasfilm around Star Wars, Skeleton Crew, and Andor. Mandalorian and Grogu is now a movie. And then Mr. Ryan Reynolds introduced the Marvel segment. He wasn't there in person.
No.
He's been a little busy lately.
Yes. Yeah.
But he got a well-deserved round of applause on video. Deadpool has been a smash hit for sure.
Was there anything new announced? I don't think there was.
For Marvel, there wasn't a lot of stuff new that we didn't know about. We saw some trailers of some things that they haven't necessarily shown yet, but I mean, you've all seen them now because basically as soon as they showed them this night in the showcase, then within 5 minutes, the official media channels were posting these out. So we saw previews and things for Fantastic Four and Ironheart and Agatha All Along and the next season of Daredevil and all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
And then our brains were broken.
Yeah, our brains were broken by a magician.
Yes. David Blaine came out and did this magic trick, this card trick with the whole arena, with 12,000 people. He did basically an elaborate card trick. And he pulls off this card trick where everybody in the room has a 3 of hearts. Like, there was a lot of steps to get there, like cutting the deck multiple ways, lots of random stuff.
Having somebody pick a card.
Yeah. I know it's math. Like, I get it. It's
not
not
all of it is math, though.
No,
That's the thing. Not
there's
all of it is math. There is
the power of suggestion.
Yes,
and
yeah. But this was really cool, and everybody in the audience got to take home a deck of cards. So
yeah,
that's really neat.
Stitch crashed the show.
Yes, Stitch did crash the show for the live action Lilo and Stitch that's coming out. I don't know what to think of live action CGI Stitch.
I mean, I don't understand live action Lion King. I don't understand live action Stitch.
Yeah,
folks, these are not live. I don't
it's
think
still animation. It's just a different type of animation.
I don't think this means what you think this means.
They announced Tron Ares, the next installation in Tron. We also got to hear a song from the new upcoming Mufasa movie. Lin-Manuel Miranda came out and introduced it.
We got to be in the room with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
We did. We got to be in the room with a lot of very famous people. There
were a bunch of A-listers. Yeah.
Yes.
That was a fun night.
And that next morning, early in the morning, we decided we needed to get in the virtual queue for merchandise. So
yes,
an alarm was set for 3:55 in the morning.
Yes.
And we did get into the virtual queue for the Walt Disney Company store. We were group 15.
Huzzah.
Yes. They still wouldn't let us line up early, though.
No.
Because only groups 1 through 10 got to line up early.
Well, unless you were there and went through a different gate, and then they were letting groups 1 through 20 in.
Yeah. whatever. But as a happy mistake here, we ended up going into the show floor right next to Disney Fine Art booth.
Yeah.
Which is always very dangerous for the Novaks.
It was, dangerous for our checking account.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the piece we bought. I can't wait for it to show up. We got a Brett Iwan painting of Sorcerer Mickey, and it is stunning. And yes, we got the big version, and I can't wait to hang it on the wall.
Brett Iwan is the voice of Mickey Mouse currently.
Yes.
He's also a darn fine artist.
So this is basically Mickey's self-portrait.
There you go. Yep. And we finally made our way into the queue for the Walt Disney Company store. We got a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
And we got so much stuff, Nathan had to drop the bags off with bag check.
Yeah, because
we didn't want to carry all that around.
No. We got a few things.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we went off and walked the show floor. We got some pictures with some of the some characters from the Pixar booth, and then we spent some quality time in the Imagineering booth. And
the Imagineering Pavilion.
Excuse me, pavilion, indeed. Yeah. This was incredible.
We could have spent pretty much the entire time here just learning from these wonderful Imagineers from Disney Research and all over the place, learning about projects that they are working on, actively working on, still in development. And this was so cool.
Got to talk with the engineers, the Imagineers, but the engineering guys who are inventing the hollow floor. You've seen this demonstrated online. This is the floor where you can put something down and the floor can move it and completely free 2 dimensions. Somebody can walk on top of the floor.
And walk in place. It's like it turns into a treadmill kind of.
But you feel like you're moving.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I got to hold one of the motors. Wow. It was, and talking to the Imagineers, this is what I really loved. We got to have these in-depth conversations, and I loved relating to their work to what I do at work. Like, yes, it's different, right? It's technology. Well, it's technology versus technology, but it's cloud ecosystems for data centers and everything versus entertainment and parks and experiences. But it is engineers solving really tough and interesting problems, and creative folks and project managers and program managers keeping the end-to-end scenario, the big picture in mind, and leveraging the talents of what the engineers are able to build and turn it into something big and tell a story. I loved every single minute of it.
Yes.
It was so great and honestly inspiring.
And this was a very large pavilion. They had so many different sections here. They had a section on the BD droids that they have in Galaxy's Edge. They had a section on animatronics, ride development, like costuming and immersion for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Disney Cruise Line had a little thing in there too. There were actual sculptors sculpting a huge clay wall art. I don't know what you would call that, but they're sculptors.
A relief.
A relief, yes. And it looks like maybe something from Fantasy Springs because it had Frozen on there, it had Tangled Rapunzel, and it had Peter Pan on there. And those are all things over in Fantasy Springs in Tokyo.
Yep.
There was also a little model of Disney Adventure World, which is in Paris. They had something on the environmental design of Lookout Key, which is the new island for Disney Cruise Line. They had a costume development section, which was all about Disney live entertainment. It was neat. You could see the dress that Minnie Mouse wears from, first off, imagining it, a concept, and then fleshing out that concept a little bit more, and then what the final look is. That was really fun too. And then, Nathan, you got to spend some time talking with the illusion development and special effects people as well.
Man, you've seen this guy if you watch the Imagineering story. His name's Daniel. He runs basically the 3D lab within Imagineering. They are working on, and they got to show off to the public various mechanisms that they use for visual effects live and in person that can be developed into what we see in the rides. I saw 3-dimensional spinning pizzas in front of me without wearing 3D glasses. Like, this stuff is so cool. And to talk with Daniel and all of the other folks, all the other Imagineers, it was so cool because they were like, we get let out to actually talk to people. And it was just, you could just see the passion for what they're doing, and their mission is to bring cool things to life. And it so came through. I really, really cherish all of the conversations that I got to have with all of these Imagineers, because it really is something magical. They are literally creating the magic that we will see in the parks for the years to come. And I can't wait to see their dreams come to reality.
Yeah. We did get to see a single panel while we were there. This was on Directing at Disney, which is a book that's coming out by Don Perry and Pete Docter. It's called Directing at Disney, the original directors of Walt's animated films. It was really interesting though. Just listening to Pete and Don talk about, I guess, just the original directors on how they learned how they needed to evolve their directing, just starting out with Snow White and then going through and like, wait a minute, no, we need more people on this, or we have to change how we do things.
Yeah. Breaking things out, dividing and conquering, bringing things back together. It was really neat to see this, basically the way these movies and shorts and everything were put together over the years evolve as they figured it out. You got to remember, this is all groundbreaking that they're doing. They're making this up as they go along. There was no playbook for them to work off of, and it was really neat to see that whole process develop. I'm excited. I think I might actually read this book. That's right, I can read.
Yeah. They had a huge booth that we did not get to check out because it was too crazy packed. And that was the TVA, the Time Variance Authority from Marvel, from Loki, and from other various things. We've seen a couple of videos on this. It looked amazing, but like I said, it was way too packed. But we did get to sit at a booth and look like we were there getting some key lime pies. So that was fun.
At the Automat. If you've seen Loki, you know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
It's very cool. That night was the Parks and Experiences panel over at the Honda Center, and this was so fun. We were recording video. I was posting as all of the announcements and everything came out on both the entertainment night and this evening. I had so much fun, kind of feeling like I was breaking news to the 2 or 3 people who were probably following along. But hey, it put a lot of stuff in our podcast feed, and we can go back and relive that there. But I really enjoyed this. We heard so much stuff from the Horizons panel from Parks and Experiences. This was last week's episode, number 138 with Scott Gustin. We're not going to drain that here. We spent almost 2 hours talking with Scott last week. Go ahead and give that a listen if you haven't heard it, and hear all about what was announced as coming to all of the Disney parks around the world and the cruise line.
That was a late night.
Yeah, it was.
It was really fun. The next day we were
tired.
We were hurting. We were tired. So it was an extremely abbreviated day, but we wanted to make sure that we got in line to do a Disney Channel opening.
Yes.
We got to take the wand for the Disney Channel and make the ears.
That's right.
It's really cool.
Hi, we're Adventures in Mousecapades, and you're watching the Disney Channel.
Yes.
It was so cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah. Living out a childhood dream.
Yep. The Imagineering Pavilion was packed that day because they had announced a couple of things that they were going to start showing in that pavilion for that day. So we didn't get in there.
No, we tried.
And
we
tried.
They kind of chuckled politely and like,
it's closed.
It's
Sorry.
closed. This line is insane. We don't know what we're doing.
Yep.
Well, no, they knew what they were doing. They were handling it really well. They capped the line. They were like, it's going to be a while before we reopen the line.
Yeah.
So
So we walked around a little bit more. I got to hold baby Simba from
Yeah.
the Lion King on Broadway, which is really neat.
Yeah, we got a bunch of other pictures of all the costumes that from not just the Lion King, but lots of different Broadway shows from Disney. We got to see Sailor Donald over in the Disney Cruise Line booth and checked out the car show.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool cars here.
Yeah, it was really fancy. A bunch of cars from the Muppet movies, and Herbie was there, of course. 3 different versions of Cruella de Vil's car.
Some stuff from Minority Report. Yep. And we pretty much just closed out the day there. It was a very short day for us. Like I said, we were hurting. We went out front and got our picture taken with the humongous sorcerer hat with 15,000.
I think it's actually 15,023.
crystals.
Yes,
From,
these were Swarovski crystals.
yes, these were. Yes,
Don't
they
eat
were.
these either.
Don't eat these either. No. We got our picture with the D23 sorcerer hat with Swarovski crystals. It was very hot outside, though.
It was roasty toasty for sure.
And then we went to Trader Sam's for lunch.
As you do.
Now, the evening show was a little earlier for this day. It was at 5 o'clock rather than 7 o'clock. And this was the Disney Legends ceremony. And they were inducting 14 people into the Legends this evening. And this was like a Academy Awards style
It was.
presentation.
It was quite impressive.
a lot. There's a lot more production than I was expecting on this. And there were some super A-list names in this as well.
The 2024 class of Disney Legends are costume director, creator Colleen Atwood, Angela Bassett, actress Martha Blanding. She was a 50-year employee at Disneyland. And I tell you what, she got one of the longest standing ovations from the 12,000 person audience of any other person that was there. And
This was awesome.
that was so heartwarming to know that this is hardcore Disney fandom, and we are here for people like Martha who really are what keep us all coming back. You know, it's great to have all of the stuff that we see coming out of Hollywood in the movies and the shows and all the rest of that, but the people who run the parks, it was pretty amazing. I gotta say, this whole evening was emotional. I pretty much had a constant leak coming out of one of my eyes.
I wasn't expecting it to be emotional.
No,
but
no,
it was.
No. Indeed. Writer James L. Brooks and producer was one of the folks involved. He's probably most notable in Disney World, or in the Disney World, not Disney World, but the universe of Disney. Yeah, the House of Mouse, as one of the producers behind The Simpsons.
Oh, he's done so many things, though.
Oh, yeah. But most of that was pre-Disney. Disney cred is mostly Simpsons at this point. James Cameron, heard of him? This guy? Yeah. Did Titanic and The Abyss, Aliens, Terminator. Incredible movies. These Avatar things, too. I don't know. Haven't seen them. Not interested. Whatever. That was cool. Jamie Lee Curtis, she was so fun. Miley Cyrus, I was shocked. I actually thought I really was kind of touched by her speech and kind of honoring everybody. Everybody spoke really well.
Yeah, she apologized for a slew of years. She's like, I'm sorry for between
2013 through 2016.
Yes. I thought that was hilarious.
That was pretty good.
And she got a little emotional too in her speech. There's actually a lot of people did that I was not expecting to. So I think Harrison Ford actually got a little verklempt too.
He did. So Harrison Ford's on that list.
Sorry.
Steve Ditko was also on there. He was one of the folks behind Marvel Comics way back in the day. And he sadly passed away recently, but one of his extended family was there. As we mentioned, Harrison Ford, he's done a few things, Star Wars-y, Indiana Jonesy.
Things here and there.
Yeah, here and there. Mostly known as a carpenter. Mark Henn, who is a classic Disney animator, kind of the guy behind a lot of your favorite characters from the Disney Renaissance and most of the princesses.
Most of the princesses. And this part was really cool because we had a whole bunch of actresses who played the voices of the princesses, come on stage and just thank him and intro him. And it was really fun.
Yeah, that was quite touching. That was really special. Frank Oz was honored as a Disney legend. You've probably heard of the Muppets. It was him and Jim Henson were really the two key folks behind the Muppets.
Yoda.
Miss Piggy, Yoda. He's done so many things. He is amazing. And I mean, he's an amazing, amazing director, writer, producer. I mean, he's not just a puppeteer. Like, it's really cool. Kelly Ripa from ABC television was honored. She's got a 30-year career with the company. That's pretty amazing.
She is funny.
Yeah, she was really funny. We don't watch any of these shows that she's on, but she's pretty funny. Joe Rohde. Joe Rohde is an icon for people who love Disney and is one of those names that people go, huh? Including some of the folks that Disney hired to kind of hype up the crowd before the show didn't pronounce his name right.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Joe Rohde was the Imagineering mastermind behind things like, I don't know, Disney's Animal Kingdom, the Aulani Resort, the Pandora World of Avatar expansion. He's done so many things. This is the guy. He has all of the earrings on his left ear.
Yes.
You know, you've seen the picture. It was pretty amazing. And last on the list was John Williams. You've heard his music. You know who this guy is. Just has done so many, like literally hundreds of TV and film scores. He has done, obviously, most notably, Star Wars, Indiana Jones themes, lots of other stuff. Sadly, he wasn't in the building. He's like 94 or something. I'm imagining that he's either A, busy, or B, doesn't travel too much anymore. Maybe D, all the above. I will say the production quality of everything they put on in the Honda Center was stunning.
Yes.
It was just amazing. And during the John Williams portion, they basically floated out what appeared to be from the audience, a full orchestra, like out of thin air, just like appeared hovering like 15 feet above the stage. It was so really cool.
And that's posted on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. You can see this whole Legends induction showcase on the Disney Plus streaming service. Yep. So that is up now. It's worth a watch. It's just some really, really good stuff.
And even if you don't know who all these people are, they explain it. You likely do know who all these people are. Since this was a little bit earlier start in the evening than the other ones, I had made dinner reservations over at Disney's Grand Californian at Hearthstone Lodge. And we will talk about the food in next week's episode. However, we are going to talk a little bit more about this day, this time that we had over in the Hearthstone Lounge, because we were enjoying our dinner and Joe Rohde walked by and sat down behind us.
Indeed.
And we were
freaked
freaking out. Yes. We're like, oh my gosh, it's Joe Rohde. What are we going to do?
And ladies and gentlemen, we did not throw away our shot. We played it cool. We may have picked up his bar tab.
We did pick up his bar tab.
We picked up his bar tab.
It was less than our food, so it was okay.
It was fine. It's fine.
We also waited until they were wrapping things up. We didn't want to interrupt them in the middle of their dinner and enjoying their time together. But
their celebration, yeah.
I had to. We had to interrupt him and just say, "We love you, Joe Rohde."
Yeah. You designed our daughter's favorite theme park. Thank you so much.
And you're just an awesome guy. Yeah.
It was so cool. He was kind enough to pose for a picture with us,
which we weren't expecting. I wasn't expecting him to get up and come talk to us, and he did. And yes, wow.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Alicia actually took an opportunity to invite him on our podcast.
I gave him our card.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess we probably won't snag Joe Rohde, but
I very much doubt it.
yeah. But he does have our card now.
He does have our card, and I will send him an email. But it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, we're not going to hold our breath. But if Tinkerbell happens to be flying by and wants to pixie dust that one, bring it. Let's do this.
That was the end of our D23 weekend.
It was
of just D23 of those 3 days there. Yeah.
Yes, we had a little bit more time in the parks. I'm trying to think. We really didn't do a ton of rides.
We didn't. We were there for the vibes for the most part.
Yeah.
This trip.
We saw Stitch. We took an opportunity to actually, I had never been on this ride before. The Monsters Inc. ride over in Hollywood Studios. That's a thing.
It probably won't be there for too much longer.
No, exactly. I fully expect this is going to be turning into Avatar World of Water here in
Pandora.
a few years.
Yep.
Indeed.
We were in Anaheim for an earthquake.
Indeed, we were.
Yeah.
We got back to the hotel room to kind of have a little bit of a kind of chill experience.
We were doing a live stream later that afternoon. We wanted some chill time. So we went back to the hotel room, and I just sat down on the bed. I think, Nathan, you were washing your hands or something. And then and then the room started shaking. I'm like, what is going on? And there was like a little bit of a rumble going on too. And I'm like, Nathan, we're having an earthquake.
I was like, no, we're not. And then I looked over and like all the towels are gently swinging. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yes, we are.
We are. So it was like a 4.4 or something like that. 4.2, I think it got adjusted to. I don't know. Whatever. It wasn't that bad.
No, we were on the 7th floor. It was just a nice little sway, maybe a rumble here or there.
I will say there were a bunch of Disney-related online social media accounts who posted like, earthquake strikes Disneyland. I'm like,
yeah. I think Incredicoaster went down for like 10 minutes. Guardians of the Galaxy was down for like 5 minutes, something like that. Yes, okay, the rides went down for a little bit, but it was not that bad, people.
Yeah. It was probably enough to trigger like an automated shutdown, and they probably ran a few cars or trains or whatever, and like everything was fine. I will say the Incredicoaster shakes more as a train goes around on it from that than we experienced from this earthquake.
Yeah. So we did a live stream with the DCL duo that evening, and then we had a wonderful dinner at Napa Rose at Grand Californian, and this was amazing. You'll hear about it next week because it was good.
That was fantastic.
We actually did a rope drop on this trip.
We did. For the first time ever, we actually rope dropped a park and actually succeeded in rope dropping a park.
Yeah. We rope dropped Fantasyland in Disneyland and got to go on all of the OG rides. So we hit, this is everything that we hit before 9:30 in the morning. We hit Snow White, we hit Peter Pan, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Pinocchio, Dumbo, Runaway Railway. And then we got breakfast.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I got my breakfast Ronto wrap over from Ronto Roasters. We did a Rise of the Resistance Lightning Lane. We got the A show.
Yay. All the animatronics. Woohoo.
Indeed. We ran Small Worlds. Some of y'all may have seen that because we live streamed it on Instagram.
Just cause.
Yep. We and then we were kind of done. Like it was getting a little more busy. It was about noon or so. 11. No, it was about 11. And we were kind of ready to take a break.
We did 2 rope drops this day though.
We did another rope drop because Alicia had snagged another reservation. This time was for Trader Sam's. That's right. Adventures in Mousecapades. We stand rope dropping when it's a bar.
That's what we did.
That's what we did.
Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar. We got to sit inside and got to see some of the shows from when you order drinks. Yeah, it was good.
Alicia took a nap that afternoon. I shipped home all of our merch because there's no way that was going to fit in our luggage. We had a dinner over at the Lamplight Lounge over in DCA. That was fun. Really good food down there. They tried to seat us like out in the boardwalk area, kind of out on the pier, but it was sunny, and we were just like, no.
Yeah, the seat that they were leading us to is one of the few that was in the sun, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, that's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
I am very fair skinned, and we don't have any sunscreen with us right now.
Yeah, not gonna happen. We meandered our way over to Cars Land for the Shaboom show, which happens every night about midnight, where they play Shaboom as all of.
About midnight, you said?
Oh yeah, maybe not midnight. Around sunset,
Yes,
sunset,
that is
midnight.
better.
Who's counting? Anyhow, they play Shaboom just like in the first movie as all of the neon lights pop on, and they kind of move their way down the road from the firehouse back towards the entrance. It's actually really cool. It's very cute. And there was a ton of people out to watch it all come to life and do a little dance. And there was even some applause and cheering when the song ended.
Yeah.
It was cute. It was fun. And then we ended the evening with the dessert party for World of Color 1. This is such a fun show.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I enjoyed this one.
I don't think I've seen this one. We've seen the holiday version of this, but we haven't seen this one.
I still miss the original with Neil Patrick Harris, but
World of Color. Yeah. But we'll talk about the dessert party more next week. It's nice because there's actually somewhere to sit.
And then we come to our last day in Disneyland. We had to go home, but we had an evening flight, so time to go to the park again.
Yes.
So we packed up. We had like a 10 o'clock or so, 10:30 breakfast reservation at Carnation Cafe there on Main Street. This was fantastic. We saw a bunch of characters. We saw Cruella on the Main Street fire truck.
Yep.
That was pretty neat. We saw Geppetto steal a kid. That was odd.
He was walking with a kid. I don't think he stole a kid.
The kid was walking the other direction. Geppetto came up and said, "Hey, come on, walk with me."
Oh,
Geppetto stole a kid.
he just redirected a child. That's all.
Just moving on.
We had to get churros for our lightsaber holders.
That's right. And yes, we have churro lightsaber holders.
Yep.
Which means, of course, you get a churro at the Frontierland churro cart, and then you hightail it over to Galaxy's Edge before that thing falls apart, and you find a photographer and get yourself some pictures having a lightsaber battle with churros in front of the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
I mean, this is hardcore Disney adulting right here.
That's what we did. It was great.
Yeah, it was
Cute pictures for sure.
Yeah, I love this. Was so fun. This is so fun. So many people are like, "Oh, those are lightsaber churro holders." Yes, they are.
Etsy is a good. We also checked out the Starview Station DVC member lounge over in Tomorrowland. It's located on the second floor of Star Wars Launch Bay. It has a mid-century modern design inside. Nice little place to just take a rest and get some drinks and some snacks.
Yeah, it's very comfortable. Nice air conditioning, and you can sit on the terrace if you're so interested. And this is where they do the dessert parties for the fireworks shows in Disneyland. A beautiful view of Tomorrowland and Space Mountain, and you can see the Matterhorn and the corpse of the Disneyland People Mover. Rest in peace.
Corpse.
Well, I
Wow.
mean, the queues are still there. Like, there's ride stuff still there on that second floor of the People Mover, but the ride's gone. Like,
Well, it became a couple of things after People Mover and then was removed. But yes,
it's the corpse of the People
the
Mover.
remains.
I'm sticking with what I said. Yeah,
Okay. After this, we headed back over to Disney's California Adventure so we could go on Radiator Springs Racers. We used a paid Lightning Lane for this. What is it called? Like multi-pass or something.
Single pass.
Single pass.
Lightning Lane single pass.
Lane single pass for this. I had to keep checking back in the app because they weren't selling fast.
No,
And
I'm
since
shocked.
You cannot customize what time for a Lightning Lane single pass. We just had to keep checking back. It was always like 15 minutes from whatever time I happened to be in the app for. And we didn't want to go right then. We wanted to go like around noon. So I had to keep
The ride
waiting.
had like an 80 or 90 minute wait.
Yeah. Well,
I don't get it.
people don't want to pay. It's
I mean,
additional
I get-
cost. It's
I get
additional
that.
cost.
That's
So,
fair.
Yeah.
let's see, after we raced around the horn and won, because
Yes, we won.
that's the important part.
Yes.
We headed back to the hotel, did a little bit of chill out there at the Palm Breeze bar again, and headed back over to the airport there down in Santa Ana. And
Yep.
promptly found out that our plane was an hour and a half or 2 hours late because the
Delayed.
pilots were stuck on a plane that had mechanicals coming in from Salt Lake City, and didn't get home till like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
No, we got home before midnight. Just barely. Yeah, 11:55. We got home 11:55.
Fair
and
enough,
went to
fair
work the next day because that's what we do.
Hooray!
Yes. Lessons learned. Would we do D23 again? My answer is yes.
My answer is also yes. I abso-freaking-lutely loved being there in the Honda Center for the evening events.
Yep.
I enjoyed some of the things that I saw on the show floor. We need to have a better plan next time.
Yep, for sure.
I feel like there's a bunch of panels that I would have been willing to go stand by wait for.
Yeah.
And we didn't. Now, I don't quite understand what Disney was doing with D23 this year, because they sent out a survey several weeks before the event and said, hey, everybody, here's all of the panels. Give us your top 4 requests for a panel on each day. On each day. So that's, if you have a 3-day pass, 12 panel requests. And pretty much everybody got 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. Like, that's just, it's just, I don't give us like, oh, choose up to 12 that you want and then only give us 1. Like, just say like, hey, choose the one thing that you'd want on this day and we'll see what we can do for you.
Or do 1 per day at least, right? Not just 1 for the entire weekend.
I get the stack rank thing, but because that helps. Like if your number 1 thing is full, then you get nothing. But I don't know. It just wasn't communicated very well on how that was going to go down. I think there was a lot of blowback from the community, disappointment of like that. It just felt like a bait and switch, especially because at least from the panel that we went to, the room became full. And I would say they only had maybe 10, 15% of the seats set up for the reserved queue that we had. The rest of it was all standby. I'm like, well, clearly you had more capacity you could have allocated to some of these panels for the reserved. Just interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I would like to do more panels. That's my take on it. A little less standing in a lounge fly line, and some more panel time. I think next time we just have a better plan, have a plan going in. Of
what we want to see, what we want to do. Yeah, we didn't really go through the panels. And it was it was really packed in there. Like there was a lot of stuff on the floor that we actually did want to go see, but the waits were way too long. I would have loved to go into and seen the Marvel stuff and seen the TVA, and even the Hulu booth looked really interesting. They also had a pin collection thing that you could have done that we didn't do, and it was free. You just had to walk around to the different booths, and that was it.
Yeah.
We got 2 of them, but yeah.
Well, you had to go through those booths.
Not necessarily. Later in the because the waits were so long, there was a lot of, are you here for the pin? Here, have the pin.
Got it. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. But I think the other thing that I would adjust doing this next time is probably not do long park days beforehand.
Yeah.
I think we started off on a back foot, pun intended, going into the weekend and being on our feet for the whole weekend. You were using a scooter around the parks because we knew that was going to be tough. You're just barely 3 months post-op from your knee replacement. We didn't have that scooter for the show. So, I mean, kudos to you for making it as far and as long as you did. That was quite inspirational, honestly. Good job.
Interestingly enough, what was hurting me the most were my ankles. It was more painful than anything else was my ankles. And it was because we were standing and not moving.
Yeah. Yep. So I get supply and demand. It felt like there was just too many people. But
this is a typical con.
Exactly. And this is why you love going to cons, but you work them. You don't necessarily attend.
Yeah, I'm not
and it's why I stay home.
Yes. I'm in the behind the scenes stuff, and I love doing behind the scenes stuff. It's rare that I'm out walking the floor unless I'm with my talent walking around the floor. But it's a lot of work. It's very crowded. And I wish we could have seen so much more than what we did.
Yeah. Yep.
But it was very enjoyable what we did get to do.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, we are not affiliated with D23 or Club 33 or Disney at all, or any of their subsidiaries. These are our personal opinions and suggestions based on our own experiences. We recommend working with a travel agent or contacting Disney directly to plan your perfect vacation.
If you have any questions or suggestions, or would like to be interviewed on our show to share your own Disney experiences, please send an email to podcast@ourmousecapades.com.
Go ahead and follow us on social media. We're at Our Mousecapades. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and even Twitter.
Please give us a rating and review in your podcast app. It really does help people find us. Please go and do that now.
Absolutely. And of course, don't hesitate to share us with your friends and fellow Disney lovers of all ages.
Thank you for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.